I've got a question for the incumbents. What areas do you see need improvement in the PISD, and what are you guys going to do to improve those areas?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I would say...
My wife's the vice president. I got to come up with good stuff.
You got a gold star.
There you go.
I would say one of the areas that we need to work on is, and this doesn't really apply at the elementary level right now, but it will when your kids get to high school. You guys know that we had to cut $5 million out of our budget over the last biennium, basically. And in elementary school, we cap our class sizes K through 4 at 22 to 1. So elementary teachers, unless you're a 5th grade teacher, you didn't really feel that in a classroom level. You felt it in many other respects, but in a classroom level you didn't. But at the secondary level, that's where we ended up putting more kids because we could. And so this year, one of my priorities is to address that in our budget. We expect that our budget is going to be looking a little bit better based on what's been happening in the legislature. I see that as a priority, not because there's a difference between having 25 versus 27 kids in one classroom. There is, because they're a lot bigger also up there. But really what it is when you teach 150 kids versus 170 kids, and then you've got to grade 170 essays that night, the likelihood of you assigning really complex homework or complex assignments lowers. And so that's a big priority, I think, for me, and an area that we have to address. Personally, I'd also like to see us address a little bit more rigor in our science program, being with a person with a science background. I think that, I think we could be doing better there in our science program. Mathematics, we're doing very well. Science program, I'd like to see us bump it up a little bit, kick it up a notch. So I'll let someone else answer.
I think that curriculum is one area that is always in need of improvement, particularly because we're transitioning to STAR and EOC. There has to be a lot of changes, and there has to be a lot of alignment of tweaks to the curriculum that we teach at each level of school. So that is always something that we can work on, and it's a continuous process. We are currently looking at that and certainly making improvements in our assessments, the way they are done. Teachers are now working on creating their own weekly assessments, which gives them a lot more data to intervene when children are not meeting the standards. And then on pre-K through second, I think that is an area that we really need to focus interventions because research tells you that is the area that you gain more for your money. Immediately you know those kids that come to school that are not ready to learn, and then you have to provide those interventions at those levels. If you lose them at that level, it's very hard to bring them back at the next level. Because from second grade they go into third and they start testing immediately. So we need to be prepared to be ready to go into third grade. And those are the two areas that we can continuously work towards improvement.
To add on to that, since you haven't been in there, what are the areas as a parent that you see need in that you want to improve on?
Just speaking even to myself, I think one of the things that I kind of spoke about earlier was just even in the sense of the men's program. Now, y'all are doing well, and I hope this meeting is like this every meeting. All right. So that didn't get a check, but okay. But the idea becomes, really, just parent involvement. And even if it's not a parent, it's someone else who they can see that has an interest in them. And I know teachers, y'all do. Y'all share interest and y'all pour into, but it really is something when we can have somebody outside, external, actually sharing to encouraging students. And that's what I say, because I've found it not only with my two, but also with others. It's just involvement. And not only, I kind of go back almost to the same thing with communication. making sure that our communication where it flows from the top all the way to the bottom, so that we are all involved, we're all a part of, and that we all have a say.